From the local courts of France to the high place of the NBA, Zaccharie Risacher's journey is more than a pursuit of just a dream. It's a leap of faith. How exactly did this player become an NBA first pick out of the blue? Join me as we see what made this exceptional basketball player. Zacharie is one of the most amazing young talents in the world of basketball. Born in Malaga, Spain, on the 8th of April 2005, but raised in France, his basketball journey began in Europe and finally took him to the high court of the NBA, showing how far his skills and resilience, built over the years, finally paid off. Zacharie is known for his ability and high basketball IQ, and is regarded by many as one of the most promising players to come out of France in the last few years. Zacharie's childhood in France was full of memories of basketball. His father, Stephane Risacher, was an accomplished player who competed in the 2000 Sydney Olympics as part of the elite French national team and played for Baloncesto Malaga from 2002 to 2006. Such a legacy from his father was what gave Zacharie an unbreakable connection with the sport, even from a very young age. Zacharie's career was definitely shaped by his father, who had a silver medal at the 2000 Summer Olympics. It was a legacy hard to forget. It also had a strong impact on Zacharie's childhood. From a young age of 2, Zacharie would often follow his father to his practice sessions and games. These early years built up a strong passion for basketball in his heart, as he was seen constantly observing and practicing the sport. His father's guidance made him both confident and showed him the hard work behind the sport, which Zacharie took on himself, mainly because he was committed to excellence. With his talent and his burning interest in basketball that was born early, it didn't take long before his natural talent started to become clear to everyone as he began to play in local leagues and school competitions. He even began playing club basketball at the age of 3 at Elan Chalon. By the time he entered his teenage years, Zacharie already had begun an intense training practice that included hours of skill work, conditioning, and strategic game analysis. By August 2020, Zacharie joined the youth program of ASVEL Basket, where he played for the club's youth team in LNB Espoir, the French under-21 league. The club was owned by former NBA star Tony Parker. This was an important connection with a top-notch NBA player, and it gave him access to high-quality coaching and facilities that were very important to improve his skills. As part of the ASVEL junior team, Zacharie displayed exceptional abilities in both offensive and defensive roles and was often the standout player in domestic and international youth tournaments. Zacharie's time in ASVEL, one of the top clubs in French basketball, helped him make a name for himself in various youth leagues and competitions in France. Zacharie made his debut with ASVEL's senior team in 2021 in an LNB elite match against Metropolitans. He also made his EuroLeague debut later that season on January 18, 2022, in a match against Monaco, which, unfortunately for his team, was a loss. He averaged 12.5 points and 4.4 rebounds per game in the LNB Espoirs competition. On the 16th of June 2023, Zacharie signed his first professional contract with ASVEL before he was loaned not long after to fellow first-tier club JL Bourg for the 2023-24 season. It was in JL Bourg that he reached the finals with his team, which they lost to their fellow French side Paris Basketball. Later in April, Zacharie was awarded the EuroCup Rising Star prize when he was just 18 years of age, making him the second youngest player to win the award. But that was not all for his senior youth career. On the 12th of May 2024, Zacharie was named the best young player of the 2023-2024 LNB Elite season, having averaged 10.1 points and 3.8 rebounds in 22 minutes per game, cementing his status as one of Europe's most promising young talents. His performance at youth tournaments, both domestically and internationally, was often filled with standout games that showed his potential and skills. One of his international games was with France's under-17 team at the 2022 Super World Cup, where he averaged a good 10 points and 4.4 points for rebounds. One of Zacharie's greatest international achievements that helped with his growth was his participation in the Adidas Next Generation tournament, where he competed against some of the top young talents in Europe. His performance in these big games showed not only his scoring ability, but also his maturity and understanding of the game. From that moment, coaches and scouts began to take notice, and soon Zacharie was known as one of Europe's best prospects. Throughout Zacharie's growth, there was a lot of influence from key figures in his French basketball career. For example, coaches at ASVEL and mentors within the club's system most times emphasized rigorous training practices that focus on his own adaptability because of his unique strong catch, shooting ability, and defense. Zacharie's training involved not only physical drills, but also strategic insights that enabled his understanding of the game. Zacharie's performance in these games began to draw attention from some NBA scouts as he kept doing excellently in most European competitions. His appearance at international youth tournaments also helped in exposing him to American audiences, which made some of them interested in him. By the 22nd of August 2024, Zacharie announced that he had declared for the 2024 NBA Draft. His entry was confirmed by the NBA on May 2nd. And on the 26th of June 2024, he was picked by the Atlanta Hawks as their first overall pick in the 2024 NBA Draft. This made him the second consecutive French player to be drafted with the number 1 pick, also being the 5th foreign international player to be taken with the first selection, showing again his high-value profile. The move to pursue an NBA career was not just any decision for Zacharie. He planned out steps in achieving most of his long-term goals. At the time, Zacharie was 18. He was known by many as a high sought-after prospect with a reputation that had gone beyond Europe. On July 6, 2024, Zacharie signed with the Hawks and made his NBA Summer League debut against the Washington Wizards, which, although it was a loss, he recorded 18 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 assists. His desire to play at the highest level of basketball meant taking the next big step, and that was moving to the United States to prepare for the NBA Draft and further his journey against the most elite competition. However, this transition came with some challenges. Zacharie was already aware that moving to the U.S. meant facing fierce competition, adapting to a different style of play, and overcoming things like cultural and linguistic differences. This also included being away from his family and the familiar support system he had in France. So, to prepare for the move, Zacharie sought mentorship from players who had made the same moves and worked with trainers experienced in bridging European and American basketball styles. Zacharie had already decided to be resilient and was going to go with the flow and adapt to his new system. He knew that his skills and deep understanding of the game were good, but he also knew that he needed to sharpen them to match the physicality and the pace of the NBA. So, he started rigorous training programs that were more about strength, agility, and endurance to ensure that he was physically and mentally prepared for the move. Zacharie's move to the NBA was also met with excitement as well as curiosity, both in the US and back home in France. French fans were proud of the fact that one of their top players was beginning his international career, and his progress was always seen in European sports outlets. In the US, early media coverage talked about his potential. Even analysts on sports networks like ESPN praised his play and broad knowledge on the court. Articles in The Athletic and other sports publications paid attention to his former performance and gave a deeper look at his ability to adjust. Interviews with Zacharie revealed his ambitious mindset and reflections on his journey, which were understood by fans and added depth to his public image. We had a number of key games that showed unique ability, for instance, in high-stakes matches against star lines. Included in these games was a highlight reel, a crucial defensive stop, and a game-winning shot, showcasing his ability to play well under pressure. Analysts explained this moment, noting his strategic play and how it marked a turning point in his integration into the team roster. Such standard performances often put his team in narrow victories and played a significant and important role in improving his profile within the league. Moving to the USA had its own difficulties. When Zacharie got to the US, it was a discouraging task to work with a different basketball culture. The NBA is different from what he had always known in Europe. It was characterized by faster changes and more intense physicality with a continuous schedule that needed big performances night after night. This period of getting used to the system was quite important for Zacharie because he worked to find balance and show his presence on the court. The relationship with his teammates and coaching staff became one of the things that helped him adjust. because communication was definitely going to be a challenge due to their different languages. Zacharie was faced with emotional and personal challenges such as homesickness and getting hold of a new culture and language. But despite the pressures of high expectations, he took advantage of his mentors and teammates and continues to support his family to pass through these adjusting moments. His father's advice to enjoy and be proud of himself helped him maintain a good outlook on life and remain determined. Even though the NBA had a very demanding schedule, Zacharie also made time to explore his new home, understand some of the American traditions, and was seen attending community events and even engaging in charity work, reflecting his belief in using his platform for positive impact. His learning process was fast, although not so smooth, but with each setback was a desire to improve, making him train harder and approach each game with a better focus. Zacharie's hard work began to show the desired results as he started making waves in the NBA. It didn't take long before his potential was clearly seen. His unique combination of size, agility, and skill allowed him to play multiple positions effectively. During his rookie season, Zacharie recorded many outstanding performances that showed how valuable he was to the team. One of them was a breakout game where he scored 20 points and got himself 10 rebounds, marking his first double-double in the NBA. But because of how he was determined to learn and understand how things were done, his teammates admired him. Most times he got advice and guidance from veteran players, and this was helpful to him in navigating the league's expectations. When Zacharie entered the NBA, he had many encounters with veteran players and league stars. One of the most important aspects of his adaptation process was his relationship with some seasoned NBA professionals. Early in his career, he formed a good relationship with mentors who gave him advice on managing the fast pace of the league and handling the pressure that came with being an exceptional player. Notably, during practice sessions or even in games, Zacharie's impressive defensive moves and precise shooting caught the attention of some big players, which earned him their respect, as was seen in post-game press conferences and player interviews. Outside of the court, Zacharie had to get a hold of life in a new country. At first, the cultural differences were really overwhelming. Same old things like navigating new cities made a whole lot of things complex to his already stressed schedule. However, his preparation to have this new experience and his eagerness to adapt were helpful to him in his transition. He took English lessons just to improve his language and made efforts to connect with fans and teammates. Though there were obstacles, Zacharie's ability to adjust was clearly seen by others. He always showed a touch of his good potential in early games. It was obvious he could compete with the best. Zacharie's life in America took on a whole new meaning. Living independently in a foreign country taught him important lessons about resilience, adaptability, and self-reliance. He took on himself the challenge of getting used to his new environment, which obviously affected his personal growth. Away from response lines, Zacharie had a moment of introspection. He often spoke about how staying grounded and remembering where he came from motivated him during tough times. He got the attention of both the analysts and fans. As the season kept going forward, Zacharie's confidence began to grow. At first, Zacharie had a reputation as a reliable defensive player, using his long reach and quick reflexes to stop opposing offenses. His offenses also grew as he adjusted to the faster pace and learned how to take advantage of defensive mistakes. By the end of the year, Zacharie had not only proven his ability to adapt, but had also made a name for himself and had gotten a permanent position as a promising young talent in the league. His plays often prevailed in crucial games, his team won a lot of games, and remained competitive in a challenging conference. The story of Zacharie is truly thrilling, like the player of the ultimate role from a lineage of a national team basketball player. But he is not the only one with a thrilling story. Subscribe for more thrilling stories. See you in the next one.